Uh-huh. Okay, what's up? You know the rest. We're back with a special pre-game live for the Celebration Bowl, which is going down in about 30 minutes. The Rattlers of Florida A&M University versus the Bison of Howard University, as they say, the real HU. So with that, I'm back with the team. We about to just have a little fun with it as we get prepared for the kickoff that's coming up and the excitement around this game. So as I always do, let me open it up with the crew. If you got any what's up, some shout outs, whatever, to get us going. What's up? McKee, let me go to you.
Yeah, what's up? Shout outs and promos for the fans. Uh, Tune in tomorrow as we do our normal discourse and our analysis on the MEAC, CIAA, and HBCU and all sports. But we'll have a 15-minute segment with the brother Michael Dearman, former CIAA great, high school great, and his son is a star at Guilford College. Uh, and he's going to talk a little bit about the decision making process that parents go through when deciding who to sign with. And that's a big topic right now with some of those comments that came out of Alabama A&M from our brother Dwayne Taylor the other day, saying what HBCUs could be used for. We'll talk about that on the show coming up. And Coach Terrence Graves, the new head coach of Southern University, responded on Facebook to those comments in contrarian fashion. Yeah, that's going to be good. New Year's show, we're going to have Carl Sharpton. He's going to talk about his book and get us ready to be positive and goal oriented in the new year. Former Naval Academy man, corporate executive Carl Sharpton. Stay tuned for that. And Biographies TV. We got some stuff coming up for that. I'm gonna put some stuff on the Facebook page for that. Let's get it on. That's all I
All right. D, what you got? I think D
So
might be getting us a check.
shout out to all the listeners. I'm still trying to get my technology in order before I come on camera, but just big shout out to all the listeners and everybody, especially the established safe coaches out of Greensboro, launching this platform into the Guilford County school systems and establishing safe cultures and an anti-violent effort. So want to thank, of course, shout out to Gene Blackman and that crew for what they're doing for the efforts in Greensboro. Stop the violence.
No doubt, no doubt.
got.
Ken, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you call? Did you say me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, big shout out to my wife, the Honorable Judge Michelle Fletcher, who is going to run unopposed. No one filed against her. So she's got 4 more years of being a judge for the citizens here in Guilford County. And we're just so proud of her and happy for her and so glad we don't have to run a campaign. So shout out to my wife, big up. So proud of her. I think this might be her swan song, but we shall see.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Congratulations to my sis-in-law. All right, all right. Well, look, as we know, in less than 30 minutes is a kickoff to what we've been waiting on. And shout out, let me say this. We're gonna cover it on Sunday, but tomorrow. But shout out to the Florida Beach Bowl, the inaugural. Can't even talk this morning. That went down this past Wednesday. We're gonna cover that tomorrow and discuss that a little more. But shout out to the teams that participated: Johnson C. Smith University and Fort Valley State University. Congratulations on y'all's efforts in making the first one a success. So with that, as we all know, we've been talking about it for weeks, and it's here. And the predictions were unanimous. Well, no, let me change that. Let me change that. Will McKee flipped the script, and he predicted the real AC to come out on top 24-21. And for those of y'all who might not be in the triad area, you may not notice, but those of us in the triad area, I'm feeling very given today. I'm feeling like crazy Kevin Powell, right? I'm feeling crazy. So I'm gonna give everybody one last chance before this kickoff. If you want to change your prediction, I'm giving that to you in my crazy Kevin Powell spirit. Does anybody want to change their prediction? Ken, you had FAMU by a touchdown, 31-24. D had Fam in a landslide, 3 touchdowns, 31-10.
Woo.
I had Fam by 2 touchdowns, 20. And like we say, Will McKee, you had HU 24-21. I'm gonna go to Ken because Ken told me he got some inside
Inside info.
information from Howard
So what?
University camp.
Yeah.
So do you want to change
So
up?
here's what I didn't know. I got to do my Lee Corso first. I did not know that Howard averages more points per game than FAMU does. So Howard has put up more points than FAM has the year. Also, the tougher schedule. You got to take into account that Howard, has played a tougher schedule than Florida A&M has. So the 6-5 record shouldn't fool you. Also, what MEAC is what 7-1, and then the last
6-1.
6-1, and the last 2 Celebration Bowls they come in as underdogs, correct? And the underdog has won each and every time. That being said, give me that headset. No.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to stay with Florida A&M, though. Not so fast. I'm going to stay with Florida A&M. They're having a great season. Florida A&M has been tested before. I think they're going to be ready for the game. And I think they are aware of Howard's potential to score. They are aware of the past 2 letdowns that the SWAC has, and they want to prove they are SWAC now. They not MEAC, they are SWAC. I'm staying with my prediction, but I'm changing the score. I think it's going to be 27-24. I think it'll be a lot closer game than we think it's going to be. But Florida A&M pulls it out at the end. They score a touchdown. They'll be down 20-24, and they'll score a touchdown at the end to win the ball game.
27-24, coming down to the last possession. You heard it, family. You
hurts my heart.
All right, so he's sticking with his gun.
I'm a MEAC guy.
As most have said, this is still MEAC. But we ain't gonna get into that. You right. I think fam wants to prove their swag. But let me go to D. D. Any changing up? D said, "Ain't no change." He said, "If I'm changing up, I'm hanging up."
I'm actually looking for.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Because I thought what I saw when I did the comparison, I thought the FAMU. So I just got some new details. I thought FAMU averaged more points per game than Howard, but I think it may have just been in the average in the wins. Is what I think their margin of victory was larger than Howard's.
Yeah,
but that was all. But no, I'm sticking with mine. 31-10.
Right. And with McKee, now you changed it up. Now let me say this too. Let me say this. McKee, I know you were thinking fan first. You already changed it up, going against everybody else. I'm just. This is more of a speak now or forever hold your peace. Are you still content with your prediction of the Bison coming out on top?
Yeah, y'all want to sing "Baby I'm Yours" with me again? Y'all will sing that if you don't believe it. If you don't believe, let me say something. I'm always ready to sing that. But let me say this. I'll say this. For everything that we make out of conferences, everything that we got to have something to talk about as analysts. I know that. I'm not trying to take the fun out of it, but at game day, coaches know, players know, some fans know that Jackson State, the SWAC didn't lose last year. Jackson State did. Now I know people try to say the brand of ball that they play, just like they talk about the Big 12 and the Power Five. It's basketball on turf. That matters, but it's about what you do today. That's it. That's all that matters. What you do today, not last week. Now, what the only predictor I usually go with when I predict games, particularly in the season games, with how are you playing leading into this game? Not necessarily your record all the time. You qualified to be here. Now let me look at how you're playing. Howard is surging. And that North Carolina Central victory said it all. As Ken said earlier, it's a team that played a brutal non-profit. Come on, Howard is a non-profit. So are all colleges. They played a brutal non-conference schedule and held their own. And by the time they got to conference, they were ready to roll up some victories. And I think they're on a roll. FAMU, the way they've been playing the last few weeks, it hasn't impressed me. Their record of obviously is impressive. That's an easy pick because they're 11-1 or 10 or whatever. But they have been playing on cruise control, as I said last week. I think it's going. FAMU's game rises and falls on how their quarterback Musa plays. He can look like an upper tier Power 5 quarterback some days. Some days he can look like he's not even FCS. It just depends. So I'll stop by saying yes. I'm going with Howard, and but I think it's going to be about 30-28 Howard.
So you giving more
I'll
points.
stick with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
30-28.
I say, man,
In the
Howard's
words of
ready.
our good friend
Howard
that
is
was
ready.
mentioned earlier.
From what I hear, Howard's ready. Howard is ready.
In the words of our good friend who was mentioned earlier, I'm gonna say it like this: not so fast, my friend. Are we forgetting? Are we forgetting that Florida A&M defense only giving up 14 points a game? Now, granted, we could say, yeah, Howard tougher schedule, so it's tougher, but still, I give credit where credit is due. And I think that's the difference in this ball game. Howard has a stout defense, but I still think the difference is FAMU's defense is phenomenal. In the couple of games I was able to watch, they have either been dominant or they held their own. I watched them against South Florida, sloppy game. Once again, as McKee pointed out, Musa was kind of up and down that game, but that defense held its own. And I think they are the difference makers with field position to avoid some of those traps and those mistakes. And I'm going to stick with FAMU over the Bison. Now, I will say this. I'm kind of wavering on the point spread that I kind of put out there. I gave them 2 touchdowns. So I'm gonna scale that back a little bit. I'm gonna cut it down to 10. So I'm gonna say 34-24. I'm gonna give Howard 4 more points.
So you think Florida A&M covers? It's 7.5.
I think they do. I think they do. They've been waiting for this moment to put their program back on the map. I think they come out ready. I think they've been tested. I just it just feels
I think Howard's defense is too. I think Howard's defense is pretty good too. I mean, Howard held Central to how many points?
I think that too.
I mean, that's gonna be a hard cover, I think.
Hey, you're right. Not
And,
many teams have been able to hold
and
Central to
and nobody's talking about Howard's powerful offensive backfield and their
Right.
offensive line. If they're able to establish, as being said, against that tough FAMU up front, if they're able to establish the run, and they have some quality receivers out wide, and I like Howard's quarterback. He makes plays with his legs and his arms. FAMU is going to have to go and win this one too. It's no coronation because you waited. You've been waiting and debating for oh so long. Look, how long has Howard been waiting?
Right.
Good Lord. They've been waiting
Jay Walker
since
played.
DeBose was since
Yeah.
Jay Walker played. I was gonna go back to I was gonna skip Jay and go back to when DeBose was the
WED.
quarterback.
Uh,
No, you
Jay and
remember
them,
DeBose who
Jay
was
and them went to the playoffs.
yes.
But that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was. It was 30
Almost.
years ago. That's
But
correct. Mm-hmm.
Hey, he had the best
Howard's
8
been waiting.
years I've ever seen play. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, don't do that.
don't
He
do,
was a, he
don't
was
do
a
him
huge
like that, Big
transfer.
King.
They only got him 4. They only got a 4.5. D-Mac, man, it looks like we the only ones, a little steady, man. Ken still predicted FAMU, but I think he's leaning more
I
Howard.
just
I
don't
think he
think
got
Fam
that inside
covers. I
info,
don't think FAMU. I
and
don't think
he
with the running like McKee's
what's the spread again?
seven and a half.
What's the
It's
spread
seven and
again?
a half.
Seven and a
But with
half.
the Howard running
Seven
game,
and a half.
with the Howard running game, which can control a clock, their defense is
Mm-hmm.
not bad. I can't see Florida A&M covering. I just
Let me say this, because before we lose, our FAMU base, shout out to Pam Oliver. Ain't Pam Oliver a rattler? Shout out Nate Newton,
Damn.
Ken Riley, all them rattlers. Shout out to y'all. Howard's got so many alumni. We don't need to run through them. They got the VP. So, but shout out to all. No,
Who will
seriously.
be there today?
Yeah, shout out to all the
Mm-hmm.
alumni of these wonderful schools. And that's why it's a celebration. You get to celebrate the greatness of your institutions. So y'all relish in that. So we salute you, you all
Yeah.
that attended the great university. So show out, show up, and show love. But I still think the Rattlers strike today. So with that, let's get some final thoughts so we can get
and they cover.
ready for the game.
Howard
So
rushing yards average 180.9. FAMU gives up half that.
I was about
So that'll tell the
thank you.
story.
Stop.
But
Very true.
that's also the reason.
See.
Also, Howard averages 28.7 points a game. FAMU averages 30.7.
30.7.
And they give up
I think
14.3
that
to
23.
Howard's 23.2.
Yeah.
So typically, it's always hard to
And
call in college because
I think that
again,
23 average was
yeah, it's always hard to call in college because when you cross over, you have to look at strength of schedule, which is what I've been looking for and can't find it. But when I do compare, they look about the same. Howard's big wins over Central, FAMU's over Prairie View twice, and then
hard to beat a team twice.
I think it's Alabama and A&M,
Yeah.
and then Central over Norfolk State. So,
Well, let me say this to kind of close it out. Let me say this, because as we know, the MEAC is that schools. It's looking kind of, what if-ish on the MEAC side. Does the implications, if the MEAC pulls it out? Well, I know we said it's Howard and those individuals. McKee, you made a great point when you said, it's Jackson State. But let's say a Howard wins this. Is it impactful for the MEAC in order to kind of hold things together with all the losses they've suffered in the past couple years? I know this is more of a conversation for the show, but I had to throw it out there since that was brought up. because they're down to 6 football schools, but they've been dominant. But much of the dominance was A&T. I think A&T won 4 of them, and they're no longer in the MEAC. Central State, South Carolina State have won them. How is this bowl essential to try to kind of keep the MEAC together, to keep them alive, the mystique? And can it bold as something attractive to try to encourage some schools to come up? What do you think? Because I think this game is very big. It's bigger for the MEAC than I think it is the SWAC. Talk to me. I'm gonna go to McKee first.
Uh, I don't think so. I think maybe morally, maybe. But that school HBCU, uh, the HBCU show called, but growing that conference is got to come from schools that are able to play at that level financially and can sustain that. And moral victories don't pay tangible bills.
Yeah, I got you. D, what's your thoughts?
Oh, and this was the give me the question one more time. I got distracted.
Do you think the significance of this bowl game can
Oh,
kind of
well,
keep the
if
MEAC
Howard
together,
wins, you
the
mean?
mystique? Well, just the game in general, and yes, if Howard continues the dominance of the MEAC, will it sustain? Is this game enough to sustain that confidence?
So I
Because
don't.
to me, let me say this, and I didn't preface this with McKee, but to me, it's like I look at it like this might be the only thing that might be holding them together because everybody's left and gone to the SWAC. I don't think regionally these schools will go to the SWAC, but it's like, is this strong enough to hold them together? Because everybody's leaving you down to 6 football schools. If something happens, you might not have celebration bowl, or is so that out there for you going into it? Go ahead.
So I think. So I think there's stuff going on in the background. So I
I
think that
understand.
I don't know that it will be. I don't know that it'll have an effect either way. I think that the schools that are remaining are more likely in lockstep to just stay as is. So I don't know that this year will have that much of an effect because if they haven't been discussing leaving before now, I don't think the results of this game are going to swing them one way or another. I do believe, however, that if Howard wins it, especially being a 7-point dog, it could potentially grow the MEAC. I don't think it will keep anybody from that's left from leaving because the MEAC has some great traditions, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to go off and move because I
Hey,
believe
it
for the
didn't
ones that are left,
didn't
they would
keep
have done so.
A&T. Couldn't keep A&T. Now, Bethune and Fam,
Yeah,
they went across the water to still participate. But you know, A&T, Hampton,
yeah.
Ken, your thoughts?
Twofold. One, it's not up to this game. I mean, the game is it is what it is because then you're gonna if the MEAC folds or whatever, you got to decide is it going to be a true, as we say, a national championship game, and then you go for the best two teams. That being said, I think the MEAC is holding on by a thread football wise. They still have what 10 teams basketball.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
basketball is going to keep them going. Basketball is going to keep them going, can keep them together. I think the schools that are in there now don't want to be a part of the SWAC. I don't think they want to. I think you need to worry
No,
more
no.
of. I think you need to worry more of the schools doing what Hampton and A&T did.
That
I think
exactly.
the, I think MEAC needs to start thinking about one using this celebration bowl and attracting schools and seriously thinking about non-traditional HBCU schools. I mean,
Yeah,
you need to
exactly.
start
Exactly.
doing what the other conferences are doing to the HBCUs. Hats off to SWAC for keeping their core group and these schools not wanting to jump ship. Hats off to Bethune and Florida A&M wanting to stay, even though they weren't happy with the MEAC, but wanting to stay in a traditional HBCU conference. But it's up to the MEAC brass. You got to be creative. You've got to go after these teams. You got to promote the tradition with some of the teams you have, and then you just gotta you gotta start thinking
Mm,
outside that box to save the football or
yeah.
whatever, and then make it what it is. What is the Celebration Bowl if you want to keep it, or does it change or evolve?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my
I
take. I
got
don't know how you.
and that's that's the thing I was just trying to get at because just like you said, if you do attract other teams that might not be HBCUs, then can it be the Black National Championship?
Yeah, then it's
It's
yeah,
it's
it's
many
like
dynamics, but I kind of see for some of these programs, with the hopes of a Delaware State, a Norfolk, um, a Morgan, and stuff that they can keep competing and get their opportunities to play for the Celebration Bowl title to reap the benefits because we know it's a financial game. We got to step up as alumni and give as well, but
and we
right
we got
now,
to
it's
be
like
fools.
I think I just be honest. I think Celebration Bowl is kind of keeping it together.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
got to be fools to not think teams such as Howard aren't being courted
Exactly.
constantly.
Exactly.
I mean,
So that's why.
and
you gotta be with the realization because
Yeah.
Howard brings
and,
also much more. Howard has
and
soccer. Howard
Yeah.
has,
Go
they,
ahead.
so.
Yeah.
But I mean, you gotta look at
yeah,
that. Look at that as well.
Go ahead, McKee.
and to that point, Howard was talking about exploring options just a couple years ago. To your point, uh, and that spring sports strength that they have is we got this has got to be too a clarion call for our community to say that you cannot depend on prizes to sustain an institution. It's got to have some foundation. And let me say this too: the fact that we haven't had graduate schools flourish in HBCUs, which was by design, because that's where the research and development dollars are. That's how you link on to
Hmm.
sustainable sources of money in the industry that will keep you strong. In addition to your, so it's a lot of cards stacked against it. But to be able to sustain those non-revenue sports every year after year, it's no small task, and a game cannot do that for us. Let's not be in la la land and think this game will be morally a shot in the arm for whoever wins it in their conference. I'm not discounting that, but you gotta have revenue to do
And that's the
Division
thing.
One sports.
But
Yeah. Well,
to disagree just a little bit to add fire for next week. That's what football is for. Football pays the bills. Period. I don't care where you're at. If you have a strong football program, it pays for everything. And that's
yeah.
what it is. Is the football good enough, or is it to sustain it? Because Duke sustains their non-traditional sports not only through alumni, because their alumni giving it ain't any different from any other school they see, but their football program generates, believe it or not, $16 million a year. But they're not known for a football school. So you
Yeah.
gotta if your football is good, you're packing it in. Football will pay for all that stuff. But we're talking about keeping that product good and what it is. If your football sucks, you everything's gonna suck. It's the nature of the beast. If your football
Well,
is
look,
terrible,
look.
it's
I
gonna be terrible.
It's time for because I was gonna say final thoughts because it's kickoff time. So I
yeah,
was gonna say,
it is
McKee,
kickoff
get
time.
your last round.
I just think for HBCUs, they are a very unique formula for their sustainability and their growth, and not having the attachments that a Duke has and places like that have. And I know y'all know that, but I'm just saying that for the viewers, that there's a unique formula that HBCUs have to do to be viable. And you talk about creativity, you got to be doggone mostly a magician sometimes to pull a rabbit out of a hat to make some of these things work. But I don't think that is against strong football. What I'm saying, that strong football and basketball is always a good idea. For Duke or Duquesne or Central, yeah.
All right.
But
Well,
I'm just talking about revenue. Just talking about revenue.
Yeah.
But you were right, McKee.
Yeah.
You are exactly right about the mindset and the HBCU, I guess, mindset, we can say.
Yeah, that too.
You know, about how to get there. How to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, final round. Any last thoughts?
Oh, it's coming on. It's coming on.
No,
Any final
I'm just go. I'm just gonna watch myself be Negro Damas again today.
Wow.
And have it.
Take that.
You do
30,
you
30
do a great job.
Bison. Only D&D know about that.
He said Negro down.
I hate to go against Damas, man.
I think this will be a good game. Like I said, here's the crazy thing about my prediction. I actually, because it's college football, I actually expect to be wrong. I actually expect it to probably end up closer to what Kenny has said. It's going to end up being like 24-27 and a nail biter. And I'm going to be looking at the score like, how did a 6-5 team hang in there with an 11-1? Like I do every year. So, that's in all these bowl games, not the national playoffs, of course, but in all the other bowl games, I ended up saying this literally. So I'm hoping I'm just gonna be.
Now, here's what ticks me off. Are y'all watching it? Here's what ticks me off.
No, we not.
Here's what ticks. So they're doing the pre-show.
Talk about it, Ken. Talk about
it. The fans and everything, talking about HBCU and everything, and they show people getting their hair braided.
Yeah.
What? Why?
What the hell? Like,
Ben's gonna have an answer. Ben has an answer for that.
Are you gonna show Alabama, Michigan? Y'all gonna show people getting their hair brushed? I mean, what?
Listen, watch Ben on this one. Come on, Ben.
You in Atlanta?
One of their most
famous artists.
Come on,
Ben can do it, man.
I believe it was Ludacris.
And it was
popularize getting your hair braided.
Oh, Jay Walker full of it.
Now let me stop. On that note, y'all enjoy the game. Remember, Sunday night.
That was good, man. That was good.
We'll be back. Y'all enjoy your Saturday.
Enjoy it.
out.
Hey.